All right, guys, another crossover. This time, Superman Savage Dragon collaboration, DC Comics and Image Comics, covered by Alex Ross and Erik Larsen. This is drawn by Erik Larsen and inks Al Gordon and Chris Eliopoulos. I know him from Twitter. He has some he has doing, I believe, he's some weird, sometimes crazy political, funny art. So check him out. So we started, maybe we've started. I'm trying to do a little bit more content, but not, it depends on the time that I have. And now I have a little bit of time here and there, although I'm spending a lot of time on my comic. But I wanted to show you, maybe a couple of more crossovers. And maybe you heard of it, maybe you don't. That's why I'm doing this. Also, continuing the regular series. So basically, I'm giving you more content. Without further ado, let's dive in. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, maybe you want to do it, because I'm doing comics every day. Every day a new review comes out. And so, yeah. Anyway, so we start here with Superman. And Superman is seeing some kind of a breakout. And there's a lot of villains, collaborating to get other villains out. Superman is basically trying to intervene, and this is at Rikers Island, by the way. But he's getting his not much his ass kicked, but somewhat. And then he's been punched his lighthouse because there's way too many, right? And then he wakes up, and he's so this, I don't know, director of this Riker Island, I guess. He says, I never seen anything like it. You managed to halt a few of them, but even more surprisingly, many were simply left behind. Whoever was behind this caper seemed to pick and choose who would stay and who would go. And there's also people that, acting like there are some kind of a daze, and Superman doesn't get it. So he's flying away, pondering. Meanwhile, we have Savage Dragon here, and he sees the vicious circle. That is basically his, street gang with superpowered criminals teaming up with DC villains. I'm not sure why Brainiac is here, or this version of Brainiac. But Brainiac is not, he's not a street level villain, right? But it's getting explained a little bit later here. So again, basically following the same fate with Superman. He's kicking ass, but then he wants to challenge Metallo. But Metallo is way too strong, right? Just get back, freak, something like that. And the art looks great. Although I must say, I'm not a big fan. Erik Larsen's fan art is always good. Although I do not like the new direction. Well, it's not really new anymore, but back in the day, since the original Dragon died, it all went downhill, in my opinion. And now his son takes over, and it's just degenerate stuff. And I've seen better faces. It's more smaller. So there's some changes in here that I don't like much. But, overall, his art is pretty good. He's got his ass kicked. And then, and then we go to Metropolis. Well, Clark is just, okay, what happened? And why, his villains are joining forces for what reasons? So Perry comes in, and he says, big story, people. It looks several of Superman's great destroyers left Metropolis and are causing trouble in the second city of Chicago. The mayor of Chicago has asked Superman to deal with the influx of villains into Chicago's notorious criminal organization, the Vicious Circle. So he says, hey, you want, basically saying, hey, get a ticket and go there. Right. And then Perry says to Clark, Kent, rumor has that Lex Luthor has his hands on the Overlord's armor. Overlord is a Savage Dragon, a villain that has been pretty powerful, leader of the Vicious Circle, killed later. Another one took his place, but there's a whole story behind that. But basically, he was a gangster, and the suit is pretty powerful, right? Anyway. So Overlord was the leader of the Vicious Circle until Chicago's police officer Dragon brought him down. Basically just what I said. And in case, you should look into it, right? But Superman knows he cannot be at two places at once. but he's going to Chicago, and then Alex, this is the cop that is on the Chicago's police force, and she's a friend of Dragon. Also had some intimate things going on. I mean, the Savage Dragon series was always a little bit, very over the top. Was fun back at the time, but was pretty over the top with great bombastic art and sound effects, and there's a lot of sleaziness going on. So Frank here, I believe he's the is he an officer or captain? Maybe he's a captain. I don't know. So everybody is here, rejoicing basically that Superman finally comes to Chicago, right? And she had she's fawning over him, right? She says, yeah, I had a crush on him for years. What girl doesn't? He's young, he's handsome, he can fly, and he's coming here to help clean up Chicago. Dragon doesn't like that and says, I'm sick of hearing that name already. Why are sending out for Big Blue Boy Scout? It's not that he's made a big apricot crime free. I always been able to handle things in Chicago before. So yeah, he doesn't like that. Now, now that I'm reminiscing a little bit and thinking back, I have a lot of Savage Dragon comics, and I never liked Savage Dragon because he has some weird attitude. He can do some fun thing, and sometimes the humor lands, but he has also some, I don't know, weird and nasty streak about him, very petty. And that's been shown here a lot in this comic. So we have this press conference, right? And Superman being Superman, everybody's happy. Of course, Dragon his chin is way too big. People start asking some questions. And so, Lois, do you have any idea why so many of your enemies have come to Chicago? I wish that I did. How long are you prepared to stay in the city? As long as it takes. Hey, Superman, I have one. How come you wear your underwear on the outside of your pants? Nobody laughs. What? It was a legitimate question. It was stupid, right? Even I thought it wasn't funny, right? Meanwhile, Parasite is kicking some vicious circles goon's ass. I forgot this face, but he's pretty powerful, although he has a face of a bird. Then he's been taken out by Cyberface. Yeah, I didn't make up these enemy names, right? And he says, I don't like. Then there's some kind of a dissension in his ranks. Take him away. But there's something wrong with him. He died I believe, or he was rotting away in jail. There's something wrong with him. But now he's been resurrected by Horde. Horde can use his worms to controls people's minds, right? So there you have it. That's probably the reason why the superheroes from the DC villains, the DC comics, is now collaborating with the Vicious Circle, right? So he wants to get healed again because he's getting weaker and weaker. And maybe Parasite, who has, the ability to absorb people's powers, can help with that, right? A little bit of story. So also a little bit of a story here that Lex Luthor is dying because he has a kryptonite ring back in the past. And he uses that to repel Superman, if you will, but he is the radiation, long-term radiation of the kryptonite infected him and he's dying. Well, he survives and he gets some cybernetic hand. So, spoiler. Anyway, and now he's in the possession of the most powerful man-made armor on the face of the earth. But he has some booby traps inside, right? Anyway, so he thinks that if he's going to use that armor to control the world and all that stuff, it's pretty basic. But then the Vicious Circles is coming in. Wants to, of course, get this suits because it belonged to their former leader. Not sure why they want the suits. Not really explained. Maybe because of Cyberface wants to have it, but it's not really clear. But the plot needs to happen. But then the armor flies away. What happened? So, and then I get a notification that, hey, Superman, Dragon, the vicious circle broke into Luthor's place back in Metropolis. Overlord's armor has been disappeared. Luthor can't be found either. And then Dragon is lashing out. Hey, you big idiot, while you sat here around flapping your cape, Luthor's pad was raided back home, and he says that he's useless. He says, Dragon, give the poor guy a break. He can be everywhere. He may be Superman, and even he can be in two places at the same time. Yeah, man, stop being a dick, asshole. Anyway, so Lois comes in and says, hey, what do you have against Superman? He's an overrated pinhead, showboating beauty queen. He flies in here, everybody just moons over him like he was the second coming, but he's just an incompetent boob. He doesn't know the city, he doesn't know the vicious circle. He doesn't know Jack, and that makes him a menace to Chicago and a hindrance to me. He's a vigilante and a spandex-wearing pretty boy who grabs all the glory, while stiffs like me do all the work. But Lois defending him, of course, that he's not a vigilante. He's here by empowered by local authorities, but also by federal government. You two have a lot in common. You're both fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. He says, yeah, look, Miss Lane, we're all mighty impressed by his dashing good looks and a public acceptance. But then she says, well, you're not looking like a monster, you're basically handsome. Yeah, and that's a running theme in the Dragon books, that people really like the look of Dragon, that he's basically a womanizer, right? But then she says, I think you're just jealous. Well, duh. Okay, he admits it at least. Meanwhile, it seems that there are other villains, scientists of the vicious circle, has been responsible for calling back the suit, which makes no sense to me because, I mean, these are the vicious circle goons, right? They are here to take the suit. So if they are here and they use technology to get the suit, why is then these guys, I don't know, entering LexCorp Tower or something? Doesn't make any sense to me. But, so they say, the armor is here. Have you any doubts, open face, but there is something in it. Indeed, the vicious circle still exists. Take me to your leader. Cyberface isn't going to like this. You think? Right? All right. So Superman is, doing some sweeps here, but, Dragon is still is on his tail. I don't see you going even on patrol. Can you just sit on a donut shop and use your telescopic X-ray vision to look for bad guys from the comfort of a corner booth, right? He says, that's enough. We're both on the same side here. Oh, come off of it. There's no point trying to sweet-talk me, you spit girl boy. I'm on to you. This isn't about saving Chicago. It's about saving your rep. You can't stand the idea of a freak cop from Chicago Dragon in your precious rogues gallery kicking and screaming. You couldn't care less about Chicago. So Superman said that he's wrong, but Dragon doesn't care. Meanwhile, Cyberface is draining Parasite, so he feels a little bit more stronger, but it isn't enough. And then, dude, I forgot the name. Oh yeah, Overlord is here, and he says, step aside, usurper. It's time for Overlord to again assume command of the vicious circle. Right? Overlord is dead. Dragon killed him, and I gave Dragon the instructions on how to do it. Who is this fool? It seems that we both have found a means to prolong our lives. Khan, were you not found dead in your cell, a victim of rare and deadly poison? All right. So that means normally the guy in the suit is still alive, the original. Probably not. Anyway, so Bird Boy comes in and, Overlord teaches him a lesson. And he says, he's hurt, dying. Yes, and if you want to see him live to draw another breath, you swear your allegiance to me. All right. So Superman still doesn't know why, his group of villains joined the vicious circle. He says it doesn't add up because their motivations are not aligned. They have separate and conflicting agendas. Again, some dissidence between the Man of Super the man of super. I'm not sure why I said that. The Kryptonian, and so he says, "What are you trying to say? That your bad guys are too good for the vicious circle, dude? Come on, this is not a pissing contest." Anyway, so he says, "You know what? I think it would be a lot more efficient if I just scour the city on my own." So he's going out there and he says, "Blast it! I'm just tired of standing around doing nothing. That makes two of us. I'm tired of you standing around doing nothing too." So Superman is visibly annoyed. So it seems that he's using his X-ray vision, but half of the city has been lined up with lead coat or lead paint, not sure. So he cannot use his X-ray vision, especially if they are underground. But surprise, surprise, Overlord's found him first, and he knocks him, out of the air. Greetings, Superman, from one man of steel to another, right? So they're having a fight. Alex Dragon, is here trying to help, right? And we see this, cool-looking shot. I mean, this is what Erik Larsen is doing. He's good with this, splash pages with awesomeness. And, it looks pretty cool, right? Silver Banshee, Brainiac doesn't add up. Siphon, who's an alien. And, of course, Parasite. Yeah, right. And we have this guy too, that's Siphon, and these two are together, right? But then Dragon knocks the head off of Silver Banshee, and they realize that's all robots, right? Except for a couple of few. But they are, there's just too many of them, and they're getting their clocks cleaned. Is that how you say it? I don't know. They're getting a licking. So Superman thinks, hey, maybe I should get out of here, save myself. But, that's not what Superman does. So because if I stay here and fight with both, well, they have been defeated. And so it ends, right? Meanwhile, Frank gets a call from, hey, it's Alex. She followed them. She tailed Dragon and Superman. They hold up in some kind of underground. Most of the vicious circles are there. Overlord too. So we see Alex. Letting go too quick. So Cyberface is draining the Kryptonian and the Dragon, right? For reasons. Okay, and so what is then the reason that he needs to be powered up, right? What is the plan? It's not really explained at all. And it's not that this story is continuing to the Savage Dragon books, because this is not really canon. It's just a crossover, right? Most crossovers from one company and another is not canon. But then Alex comes in and disrupt the whole thing, right? And I like that, sort of. Normally we have some kind of a conversation and some arguing here that she's coming here to save the day. And then the bad guy says some stuff, and then having a battle scene, and then, mostly this stuff happens. But we just skip that and just say, okay, let's get to the point. I don't mind that. But then Superman and Dragon are free, restore their power, and Superman is crashing down the walls. And then, I don't know. We have this guy called Abner Cadaver. I know he has some weird powers. But then Metallo and Cadaver falls because, like, puppets, right? And then somehow Overlord is here, but he's pretty strong. But then, now we got this plot armor because there's not much pages left. So he says, allow me to return the favor. There are fail-safers installed in Overlord's armor, and a series of pressure points, when struck in the correct order, that disable and shut down aspects of the power suit. Done and done. Well, he knows that because he tangled with, Overlord before. But, him depowering the suits with just a couple of shots, and then Superman taking it out, and then, oh no, it's Lex Luthor, right? And he's been brainwashed maybe by the suit, which is weird, right? Because normally, okay, let me show you a little bit what I mean. So, where can I? Yeah, I'm going to show you that a little bit later. So, Parasite is tangling with Dragon, but then he has this worm, and he, kills it, and then he go limp. So this is the worm of the Horde guy. So for those who never ever read a Savage Dragon comic, this is not very good, because normally you would have a little bit of a knowledge of the universe or storylines in, and even villains in dragons, worlds, because you probably would know if, okay, well, what is this then, right? And what does it do? Maybe you wouldn't have made a connection that the Horde can release a lot of these worms and attach them to various people and controlling them. But it's not really well explained here. You just have to assume and know these characters. So yeah, that is a little bit weird. Anyway, so Lex is walking because he didn't know, he was innocent. Horde is not happy what happened, and he says that Cyberface is weakened, and he says we need to find a way to help Sebastian Khan with Cyberface, but that will have to wait for another day, etc. Anyway, the worms have been removed, our scheme is done, it's ended, right? So Savage Dragon is happy. She said, how do I do? You did good, Alex. You saved us both our butts. All of this just to get a piece of me, and as usual, Lex Luthor just walks away a free man. Where's the justice? Look at you two. I can't tell if you won or lost. Won, lost. So he says, hey, we have a dinner, my treat. So the Man of Steel has feet of clay. He's not perfect and infallible as the press makes him out to be. I can relate to that. Turns out he's not such a bad guy after all. For a man who doesn't put his underwear properly. You're so funny, Mr. Dragon. You're so funny, Mr. Erik Larsen. So what do I think about it? I think the art is great. I like the art a lot. And that really helps with the overall, story. It's a visual feast. When it comes to story itself, I don't like, Dragon being a constant irritating dick all the time towards Superman. I mean, Superman is the best superhero ever, in my humble opinion, along with Spider-Man, classic Spider-Man, and Hulk, and Batman, and a couple of others. But, that's besides the point. Is it a fun story? Yeah, but it has some plot holes. I mean, if Overlords, who was speaking, by the way? Because if Lex Luthor was taking over by the suit, then who was speaking? Who was putting these words in his brain? If how do you say? Lex Luthor is. I don't know what happened. What happened to me? I don't know. So, I mean, that's also not explained, right? Oh, well, it is what it is. So, it's okay. It's okay. It was fun. It's just, a good time waster. So, guys, let me know in the comments what you think about it. See you next time. Bye-bye.